I'm here with Davey Joe, asking him some questions. Hello.
Hello, happy to be here.
So, Davey Joe.
Mm.
Let's see. I want to know what your life purpose is.
Well, ever since I was young, and this is something that is consistent through my life, is that people who I got close enough with told me that they felt really comfortable around me and felt like they can be authentically themselves. For whatever reason that was. I was always a little different growing up, I never really followed the herd. And I think that was something that made people feel like they can be different if they were. And I was always had a courage to be different. Maybe even a little desire to be different. I can say that honestly too. And I think that quality made people feel like it was okay to be different too. And even if it wasn't different, they could just really be themselves. So that being said, I think that's a kind of a core purpose. But as I sit now in my position, I feel that now translates into helping those who are ready discover the universal self that we all share. And as far as, so when I was younger, it was kind of about allowing or being a presence that encouraged people to find themselves individually. And now I find myself encouraging people to find themselves spiritually and on a soul level too.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
Can you talk more about that process of helping people tap into that?
Sure. A lot of it comes through suffering, because that's really what for me was what revealed or allowed me to discover my true self, was through suffering. So that process, I guess, inevitably is through, I guess, first the knowledge of that we exist beyond our mind. That if the mind goes away, we still exist. And because the mind is attached to the body, that means that if the body goes, we still exist too. And so there's an awareness. And as far as any kind of method, or I forget the word that you used, to bring people, method to bring people to that is kind of what the question was, right? I just want to make sure I actually answer the question. Any method, it has to be individual to everybody, and that's kind of what I find to be beautiful about this kind of stuff is there's no way that'll work for everyone. I mean, maybe there is, but as far as getting to that place of experiential realization of ourselves, everybody's path to get there is going to be different.
Mm.
And there may be large groups that take the same path. There may be hundreds of thousands of people who take the same path and walk the same road, but there may be 10 billion others who take a different path.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I guess that all being said, the method is kind of deconstructing what we're not, and really being with our own mind, and just with the constant awareness of the mind isn't ourself. The mind isn't who we are.
Mm.
And just constantly finding ways to remind ourselves. So if there is a method, it's using everything that happens in the mind as like a trigger back to the self.
Mm.
So everything I feel, bring that to the self. Everything I witness, every thought that I have, bring it back to the center.
Was there a moment that you first discovered your true self?
I mean, yes. And I've had kind of several moments throughout my life
Mm-hmm.
that revealed it, that it was revealed. I remember when I was 15 or 16 years old, I did some drugs, and had fun, in a way. But I remember I went unconscious for a little while, and that was like, I think there's something significant with that experience. I went unconscious, drug-induced. I don't want to say a coma or anything like that, but I passed out, and my friends couldn't wake me up for a little while, and I ended up emerging, and I was fine. Everything was okay. But the next morning when I woke up, I felt like I just understood everything.
Interesting.
I realized my mortality of the body, and I accepted that the body would pass, and I just felt like I could see everything for what it really was. I just had so much clarity. And then I got an overwhelming fear that took over.
Mm.
And I lived through that fear for a while. So that was a very significant moment. And then ultimately, there's a whole span of life that happened, that occurred, that was kind of in denial of that moment, out of fear.
Mm.
And that was a long chapter. It wasn't until, I suppose, I found yoga, and somebody said to me, "You are not your thoughts." That changed my whole life.
Wow.
That one phrase, "You are not your thoughts," changed it all, because in that instant, it instantly wakes you up to if I'm not my thoughts, what am I? Or who am I? Everything I thought about myself was thoughts.
Mm.
So what's left?
So what's left?
Silence. And silence is existence. Silence exists. It's kind of like even nothing is something, right? And that was a revelation too, is having an experience of okay, my mind cannot exist, but I cannot not exist. I, in a true, universal, ultimate spirit sense, cannot not exist, because I am is all that is everything.
Now, how do you explain that to someone who doesn't believe that?
Maybe I don't.
Mm.
Yeah, that may not even be truth for someone who doesn't believe it. they're allowed to have their own truth that's different than that, and that's okay.
Mm.
But if somebody was curious and wanted to, maybe was open enough to explore that, how would I explain it? I would have to offer them probably some kind of a meditation that introduced them to that space inside themselves and prove to them so they can experience that it's real instead of just hearing it and believing in it or not, because that's done inside the mind. Belief is inside the mind, and knowing yourself doesn't have to involve the mind. I would probably do the best that I could to steer them in a way, in the same way that I experienced it. Was like, so let's turn the mind off. Let's step you out of the mind and what's there, and then have them tell me what's there. Instead of me telling them, saying, well, there's silence, there's existence, there's peace, there's bliss. Instead of saying anything like that, I would probably say, well, let's go there, and then you talk to me about it.
Wow. How could one even talk about it?
You can. But you can describe what it's like without the mind, in a way. And when, for example, if I do it right now, right, if I go into that space right now, something that's here is there's experience of all of the senses. And there's this interesting there's no questions left. There's no confusion. There's no desire. And there's just an incredibly wonderful feeling where everything matters, but nothing matters at the same time. Every molecule in this whole existence is perfect. And I'm just here.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
De nada. How do you honor yourself on a daily basis?
Awesome. I breathe and nourish my body with oxygen. I make sure that I consciously breathe and take deep breaths every day. I also feed myself good food and do my best to drink good water, and lots of it, but that I'm still working on becoming optimal with. That's for the body, and that helps. I try not to justify too many beliefs. And I spend as much time in my own inner silence as I can. Even if there's thoughts and thinking happening, I do my best to give myself the gift of an internal silence as often as I can.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
If you could tell your inner child something, what would you tell them?
I hear you. I want to know what you're going through. I support you. Tell me about what makes you feel good inside. Maybe I can help you make it happen. That feels good.
And then one thing that you would ask your shadow self.
How can I serve you?
Beautiful. And I loved the question that you asked me. That was, what is something that you would say to the children
You're worthy and deserving of a good life. Everyone deserves love and happiness. And every one of you can have that. Know that you are not your thoughts. That you are loved and you're supported. And that you can live your life doing things that make you happy. You don't have to sacrifice happiness to live in this world. You can be abundant doing anything you want to do. And you don't need anything outside of yourself to be happy. This world was made for you. This world was made for you to explore it. You came into this life to experience every bit of life. And that means happiness, that means sadness, that means anger. It's all okay. That's why we're here. Everything that happens is here to teach you something. So go out and get the world. Go and try your luck. Go and explore life and see what life has to say to you. And enjoy every single moment. Don't let your sorrows or sadness weigh you down. You can find joy in every moment. Love yourself the most. And then let that love share with others. Respect your elders. Appreciate the earth. Take care of the earth. This is your home. Help people that are in need of help, that can appreciate your help. Always make sure that you're healthy and taken care of. Every day, tell yourself that you love yourself. And do things that make you feel alive and happy. Surround yourself with people that make you feel good about yourself. Make sure that the people that are around you support your creativity and support your joy, and you're growing into a strong being. Don't be afraid to change your life if it's not working out for you. Have the strength and the courage to do scary things. Know that you're supported by this world, this universe. You have angels all around you, supporting your life. And you can do it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So beautiful.
So happy to share this time.
One last thing.
Sure.
What is one thing that makes you feel alive?
I feel so alive congregating in sacred space with other humans. When humans get together with great intention, I feel so alive. I think humans are really special. And when we get together with loving intention and we communicate with each other honestly, when we do things in a really mindful way, and when we gather again in sacred space, that's really when I feel alive.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing these beautiful moments and pieces of you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the wisdom that you share and the beauty that you bring into this world. You're so loved and so appreciated for all that you are.
Thank you so much, as are you.